we'll just start with the reconciliation that we acknowledge we're on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and many people whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We're grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. And with that acknowledgement done, we can move on to adopting our agenda. We do have a new item 8.3, the LAPP participation. Is there anything else?
We'll move as amended.
All right, all in favor? Carried. No scheduled delegations, so we'll move to any public delegations. I don't see anybody moving from the crowd, so we'll move on then to our peace officers report. Can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Dunn.
The council received the Senior Peace Officers April 2024 report for information.
All right, thank you for that. And with that, I'll turn it over to our Senior Peace Officer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. April is the beginning of our unsightly properties and spring cleanup sessions. So we started sending out notices to residents and commercial properties. Dog licenses are dwindling, or I should say renewal dog licenses are dwindling. One dog picked up, owner paid fine and found fees. Parking violations are ongoing, not that big of a deal, but they're still ongoing. I'm open to any questions council may have.
All right, Councillor Winkle.
The parking violations, is there a particular area that's bad or just kind of all over?
It's mainly all over, but typically around Tim Hortons.
We just have the lines painted there, the curb painted yellow, right?
And signs, yeah.
We do have signs?
Yeah.
I never park there, so I don't notice the sign, or there's always a truck parked in the way, so I don't see the signs. I was gonna suggest a sign if that's possible, but, okay, that was all I had.
It's improved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Councillor Martins.
Hi, good evening. Will you and Joel both be our 28th meeting?
28.
29 tomorrow. Oh, sorry, 29 tomorrow.
Yes.
How's he liking it?
He seems to be enjoying it. Yeah, he's picking up things pretty fast, yeah. So.
All done? Yeah, okay. Councillor Tanaka.
Are we still waiting for his sign off, or has that been completed from Solicitor General?
No, that's all done.
Okay, good.
He's got his appointment. We're just doing field officer training now. So.
Good, perfect, thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm just curious, field officer training, so does that mean you have to have so many hours supervised, or what does that mean? I thought once you were...
Well, it's just basically getting to know the area and the paper process, ticketing, ticket writing, and Blair McLennan showing him the areas around.
Okay, so it's just basically in training. For
Yeah, and
learning our process.
I call it field officer.
Yeah.
You can do it as basic training, so to speak.
Well, sometimes you might need so many hours of supervised work experience to get certified or something, but that's not the case. This is just, he's certified, he's ready, it's just, you're training him for what we need in IFRA.
Exactly, yeah.
anything else? No, all right. Thank you very much for your report. We have the motion to receive for information, all in favor? Carried. Moving on then to our minutes from the last meeting. Somebody would like to make a motion on it? Go ahead. Councilor Musician.
The council approved the minutes for the May 14th, 2024 regular meeting of council as presented.
All right. Any, Councilor Daneka?
The minutes should show that yourself and John were absent from that meeting.
All right, was there anything else? All right. So, would you want to make an amendment?
As amended.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Usually if you have an opposition, let us know ahead so we know why you're opposing.
It's just a reoccurring coincidence.
All right, is there any business coming out of these minutes I want to ask about? All right. Oh, sorry, Councilor Daneka.
I was gonna ask this later, but now that we've passed the tax bylaw, when is the open house for people who have questions about their assessment?
Through the chair, there isn't an open house in the tax notice that was delivered and mailed out. Residents were advised when you have text paper, if you haven't received your notice,
Right?
contact the office. Included in there is the number of the assessor,
Okay,
if they have issues related to their assessment.
okay,
And we don't deal with it, the assessor, who council's appointed, will deal with all related assessment questions.
okay, because we've had open houses before where Warren has been here, and people have come to ask questions about how their stuff is assessed, et cetera.
Right, in terms of, we can ask the assessor to come up with what I would suggest we have a more formal process that is compliant with the act in terms of assessment appeals.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to new business, 8.1. Yeah, the G plot. Get a motion on this one? Councilor Martins?
Sorry, I'm not making a motion, I'm just asking a question. Where is our confirmation of minutes from the special meeting of May 21st?
Okay, I'll turn them
It'll be at the next council meeting.
Okay, 8.1 then, the resolution, restoration of grant in place of taxes. Anybody want to make a motion there? Councilor Waco.
Council support the attached resolution restoring provincial funds and grants in place of taxes. G-Bond. Since this was mine. And thanks to Mayor Clark for seconding that.
All right.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor.
Any questions, comments on this one? Councilor, go ahead.
Didn't we deal with this just a few months back?
Well, we made a motion to bring this to Alberta municipalities. Yeah, and then there was a check on which motions had already been in place with Alberta municipalities. So there was a couple of motions. One of them was already still in the books, so we dropped that one, but this one wasn't. So we're bringing it forward to present at Alberta Municipal Conference. Yeah. So yes, we have talked about it a few times. All right, no other comments on it? We have a motion to accept it. All in favor? It is carried. 8.2, special event policy. Motion on this one. Councilor Dunn.
The council adopts special events policy as presented. The council direct administration to prepare the necessary bylaw.
All right. And perhaps I'll turn it over to the CEO to give any more background that he wants to give on this one just before we discuss it.
Getting through the chair, special events are a great thing for the community. The unfortunate thing is some of these special events, such as street parties and the like, may expose and do expose the town ratepayers to significant liability issues. Given that, I did reach out to our insurer to see if they would offer third-party coverage for items such as street closure, special events, and the like within town, and they're prepared to do that and do offer a program where external groups can piggyback on. They would be insured separately, but it would be basically co-insuring the town for these events. The report outlines the potential liabilities over the course of the last 3 years. There's been hundreds of liability suits against municipalities dealing with such items as street parties, liability issues in rec centers, liability issues in arenas. Some of those settlements have been minor, a few $1,000s. Some of them have been multi-millions that have been assessed on municipalities in terms of insurance suits. So the insurer basically has a tier of exposures, low risk items, which street parties and block events and all that would be considered low risk. So the premiums to insure those type of events, for instance, for 100 participants, the cost of insurance would be $20 without alcohol. If an event for 100 people included alcohol, then the cost of insurance would be roughly $165. For the smaller event with no alcohol, general policy they would be insured up to $2 million. So they would cover the first $2 million. Anything after that, the town would likely be sued for. In the case of alcohol, it would be up to $5 million. After that, the town would be responsible for any claims above that amount. So again, in order to enact it, we do require a bylaw, but the policy just states sort of the procedural aspects of it. You can see the effective date is not when council's approving it, it's dated July 1st, because there'll be some forms that are required to be developed by administration. You know, those forms would then be put on the website, some communication to the public that may be having street events. Last year, I think if I stand corrected, but I believe we had 3 events last year, 2 street closures and 1 parade. Parades would actually have a higher risk associated with them, so the insurance costs for those would be slightly higher. But anyways, the overall effect of the policy, intent of the policy is not to prevent public engagement in terms of street parties and the like, but to ensure that the residents are protected from a liability perspective in the case something does happen at such events.
All right, thank you. So we'll open it up for questions or comments. Councilor Stenhouse?
So I have a few, would you like them in point form or just shoot them all off?
We'll go one at a time.
Okay. So 2C in the definitions, 2C3, high-risk activity or structure such as, but not limited to, fireworks. So we already have a bylaw that you're not allowed fireworks in town. So should that not be removed from this policy?
I would suggest not, perhaps at the bottom of the policy, we can reference other policies that may be applicable, but it's better to have it in, because people may not be aware of that other policy.
Okay, so if we continue down, it says noise that will likely exceed permitted noise levels. What are the permitted noise levels?
That would be subject to the bylaw officer and peace officer in terms of noise complaints within the town, and we dealt with under his legislative authority.
So it's not a measurement, it's a discretionary noise level.
The peace officers here, if you'd like to speak to that further, but it's, generally, it's a level that would cause distraction and unused, interfere with someone else's right to enjoy their own personal property or their own personal space, and the noise levels may infringe on that. Like I could ask Officer Bloom to,
That's pretty much it, other than the timeline of quiet hours, 10 to 6, so. But yeah, basically if it's, disrupting or disturbing other people's just for quiet time, and it's based on the complaints too, that we'd respond to that.
Then as we continue on to the next page, it says involving more than 30 attendees. So when someone's applying for this permit, do they have to have an RSVP? Like, how do they know if they'll get more than 30 attendees? If they go over, under, why would we set a number of 30 attendees?
that number is a trigger. Council can change it to 10, 200, 2,000, but it's a trigger that says if you meet these conditions, you must apply for a permit.
Okay, I understand that it's just a number, but so if somebody's gonna have a block party, do they have to have an RSVP? They have to put in a number first of how many people will attend?
An estimate, yes, not an RSP, but an estimate of whether they need to apply for a permit or not. And based on that, they would either apply for a permit, and obviously, if it's a street party, it would meet the definition.
So below 30, they don't need this permit?
No, if they're closing the street in any fashion, they would require a permit.
So moving on to 4.3, it says upon reviewing an application, the approving authority may. In the definitions, there is no definition of approval authority. So who would be the approval authority? Or could we add that in to make it more clear?
We definitely added in, but the policy also delegates the authorities to the chief administrative officer, and it's all delegated to the chief administrative officer, so.
Yes, that is all listed there, but in the policy, it says approving authority, if we could add a definition to that.
Sure, we can just add it in under the chief administrative officer definition. We can add it in as such. Approval authority is the chief administrative officer.
That's it for my questions.
Councillor Tanaka.
I just have one, in our old policy, if a street was gonna be closed and impacted businesses, the event host would get the okay from the businesses saying that they're fine with that. So is that referenced in 3.2C about establishing forums
Chair, again, I don't believe that was in a policy per se of council, it was a practice.
The practice, okay,
So we could build that into the application, that if it's impacting the commercial sector of town, consent must be given by
yes,
the majority of
yes.
the businesses, yes.
I would like that included into the policy as opposed to be a practice. And I think that was all my questions. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. So, I'm sort of just confused by the wording of what Judy had cited on 2C, high-risk activity or structure. I'm confused as to what that means. Like, high-risk activity, I understand, structure and meaning what?
Could be the trampoline that isn't secured. It could be a 4-story inflatable with huge slides that.
Okay, all right,
So those type of activities.
okay, all right, okay, thank you.
Councilor Rico?
Once we have this, I guess all the language, are we just cleaning up the language right here at the table, or are we gonna bring it back to the next meeting?
Bylaw, if I could through the chair again, the bylaw has to come back so we can attach the policy with the bylaw.
Can we, make sure that we forward this to the various groups in town that have done road closures and street parties in the past, like, the Elks Royal Purple, the Children's Resource Council, Friendship Center,
Housing,
Harbor Housing, yeah, they did their block party. Anything else that I'm missing? I'm sure I'm missing something.
The high school usually
Yeah,
has.
the high school, yeah.
Their parade,
Yeah,
graduation parade.
yeah. If we just make sure we forward that to them, saying that this is a new policy going forward. A new bylaw going forward, sorry.
Again, through the chair, that's, would be done anyways, yes.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? I was curious, just what would the cost be for, like, the parade for I'm just like the high school graduation parade? What would they end up paying? Like you were saying, it's between $20 and $165, depending on high risk. So,
So for those, if I could through the chair again, those type of events are depending on the parade route, the duration of the parade, the number of floats, what the parade protocol is. So the insurer will evaluate all those things from a risk assessment and then say, well, it's in
this, right, okay.
but they're much, much more expensive than a street party.
Yeah.
Because of the risk attached to it. So again, there may be, from my perspective, I would be regardless of the cost. And in my report, I also know that this only deals with the narrow special events policy. It doesn't deal with events that are currently happening within our structures. Those need to be reviewed significantly because that's where the multi-million-dollar claims are going to happen. Similar parade could fall into that category of high risk where the kid runs out and we're not supposed to be throwing candy from cars and the kid runs out onto the road and is run over by a vehicle. You're into significant liability issues there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. So, yeah. Councilor Stenhouse?
So how do we see this affecting beautification with the light up? Because that's a cross between, that's parade, that's block party, that's road closure,
Generally,
that's a big event.
if there are road closures, then that would be applied, but, you know, if the public is on municipal right-of-ways or sidewalks, there's no issues. That doesn't create any adverse risk. But if they're on the roadways and we're closing roadways and we're barricading it and the like, that significantly increases risk. question, but,
So beautification will have to, probably pay the high end for this, permit. To have land.
again, that would be considered a low-risk event. So it's all based on the nature of the event, where it's occurring. So those type of events, like a street party, hypothetically, if beautification was going to close sections of the roadways, we're probably looking at a permit since no alcohol is being served in the $100 range for insurance coverage, $150, that type of range. So it's not going to be exorbitant, but
Yeah, and they generally have closed down the roads for the parade during that time, but there isn't generally candy being thrown, so that makes it a lot safer than having kids running out to get things. So I think those would be factors that the insurance company would look at.
And the distance is shorter.
And the distance is much shorter, yeah, it's only 3 blocks.
I knew there was one that was missing. My apologies to beautification for the, yes, when I was listening stuff.
That's one of the big ones.
Yeah, I know, I'm going through it, like, I'm missing something, it's killing me. So, my apologies.
Okay, anything else on this? All right, so we wanted a couple of things cleared up just in terms of the wording of on who's the authority, referencing maybe well, I don't know if we need to reference the noise bylaw, but, what's that? Yeah, well, he said to keep it in there, and I would tend to agree so that they don't have to know that that other bylaw exists, just so if they're planning an event for fireworks that it's in town, then they'll address it. And, so, yeah. Okay, so we have the motion, and it's we know we also need a bylaw to go along with this, because it refers to a bylaw that this policy is referring to, so that'll come back with the updated policy. If you want to approve this now, and then,
council can agree either way. They can approve in principle, subject to the bylaw coming back, and approve it then. That may be better because the next few weeks are going to be a bit difficult to grade things. So perhaps council can approve in principle, but with those suggested amendments, and it can be confirmed when the bylaw's been brought back.
okay,
Because that would really trigger what the effective date is of the policy.
yeah, because you have to have the bylaw. Okay, so we want the motion to adopt this policy in principle, and then we'll get moving on the bylaw and the tweaks that we've identified. Who made the motion there? You did, right, Councilor Dunn? Yeah. So do you want to do a friendly amendment to?
Yeah, that's amended.
Yeah. Or in principle, right? That's what we wanted to say, the policy in principle, and then that way it gives the administration the go-ahead to develop the bylaw and spend the time to do that and do the tweaks to the policy that we've identified. And then they'll both come back to a future meeting. Okay?
That,
Any other comments before we vote with that amendment? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to the new agenda item, 8.3. We'll get a motion on this one.
authorize the CAO and mayor to execute the participation agreement with LAPP.
All right, so with that, I'm gonna turn it over to our CAO to walk us through this one. It's just coming on.
Going back, way before the August 12th, committee of the whole date, brief council at various meetings about the benefits of participating in the local authorities pension plan. That's the pervasive pension plan for municipalities across the province. There are very few municipalities that are not in that pension plan. The town of Five Prairie being one of them. The town offers a group registered retirement savings plan. So at the last August 12th meeting, we had probably half an hour to an hour discussion on it. There was information provided on which municipalities in our geographic area were participating in LAPP. There was a long list of neighbors that are participating. I believe there's only one municipal unit within a 300-kilometer radius that does not participate in LAPP. But just refresh everyone's memories, the village of Berwyn, Big Lakes County, Fairview, Blair, Fox Creek, Grimshaw, Hythe, Legal, Manning, McLennan, Napa, Peace River, Rainbow Lake, Rycroft, Sexsmith, so town of Swan Hills, Valley View. So pervasively, all municipalities in the province are in that plan. I also reviewed with council the other towns that have a population similar to ours, between 2,000 and 3,000. There's 25 municipalities that are in that category. There's two that do not participate, well, three that do not participate in LAPP. Of those three, the town being one of them, and the town of Kalmar being the other. The other individual town does not participate in LAPP, but offers higher benefits under their pension plan than LAPP does. So that's sort of an anomaly. We reviewed the issues of staff retention, staff attraction, compensation being all-inclusive, and the issue of not having this mechanism creates issues when we're trying to fill critical public service jobs such as water operators, where anyone that's in another municipality is not going to move from municipality A to come to the town if they're going to lose their pension contributions and the like. So based on that, I was directed to include necessary realignment of the budget. That has been done, and the necessary funds are available in the approved operating budget for council. That was mainly achieved by deleting the 3 positions and realigning some work job-related issues to our staff to create savings to fund the program. So now we're at the point where LAPP has moved it along. We've been working with them for the last few months, and the board of LAPP has approved the town joining the plan, but it requires an agreement with them, a participation agreement to enter into that relationship. So that's what we're seeking authority, or I'm seeking authority for council tonight to do. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. So I'll open the floor for questions, comments. Councillor Tanaka.
When we were discussing this, way back when, did you say it was going to actually cost us more than how we're, like, the way our policy is, or plan is now?
Yes, so it will cost the employer more, and it will also cost the employees more. So
Okay.
we had briefing sessions with the staff, all the staff. They're aware that they were going to have to put in more contributions on their end. But yes, there is additional contributions above what the town's providing in the RSP. That being said, I also advise council that those would be totally offset by the savings of the jobs that were being deleted and not filled. So the offsets are more than the cost of participation.
Okay, and my next question is, presently now, we're in the group RRSP. So once we go to the LAPP, does that whatever that employee accumulates transfers to the LAPP.
That's what we, again, through the chair, that's purely an employee decision. So the employee can make that decision to buy back service, if you want to look at it that way, in the pension plan, or maintain their existing RSP.
So they don't have to partake in the LAPP, is that what you're saying?
No, if all staff will, effective, council approved this, effective June 1st, all employees that meet the criteria to participate. So there's lots of staff that don't meet the criteria because they're working, a lifeguard is working 6 hours a week at the pool. and not
Oh, okay,
participating.
I get you.
But generally, the full-time staff that will be participating, and it's mandatory participation, so they don't have a choice to opt out, they're in.
Okay,
All the employees are aware of that. Not one employee was against moving in this direction.
okay. Okay,
So again, we've had during that orientation session, they can move their RSP money and buy back service. Obviously, it's not gonna buy back a 1-to-1 year service contribution because the contribution rates are different.
right, okay.
All right. Counselor Martins?
So what is this costing the town?
As I articulated, there is no additional cost to the town by deleting and realigning those positions within the budget. There is savings within the budget to fund the program.
Okay, so I understand that we have budget to fund it. What does the LAPP program cost the town?
If you're asking what the difference between our current contributions are under the group RSP to move to this, it's roughly 80,000 for the town. And roughly, employees would have to contribute roughly the same amount in addition to their current contributions. And the specific details were provided during the August 12th meeting.
Okay. Counselor Garrett?
And just to reiterate, all of the staff that qualify are in favor of the LAPP.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
I could just add that is a requirement of LAPP to demonstrate that there was the required consultation session with staff, and those that would be subject to participating in the program have agreed to participate. So declaration forms have been signed off by staff. None were in the negative position.
Counselor Stenhouse?
So the 80,000 is for this year, but in coming years, will that increase? Or will we stay up in that price range?
Generally, there'll be no incremental impact. As employee salaries go up, obviously the aggregate contribution also goes up. So it's all based on what the future salaries will be. That being said, the LAPP pension plan is required under pension legislation not to maintain a significant surplus. They're now in that regime where they're likely have to do a number of things to reduce their surplus. One is reduce contribution rates. So most recently, last year, the contribution rates were reduced. That would be an option that they may pursue in the future because their surplus position is getting up where they have to dispose of the surplus. So either they reduce contribution rates for both the employer and the employees, they increase the benefits that employees get, or they do a combination of other plan improvements.
All right, anything else? none. We have the motion to approve this. All in favor? Okay, it's carried. Moving on then to, the staff and CAO's reports. We're on to 13.1. Can I get a motion on this one? Well, the CAO's report first. Councilor Kent?
The council receives CEO Bill Kenny's report and actions for information.
Okay, so with that, I'll turn it again over to our CEO to highlight anything he wishes to highlight.
Maybe highlight, the leadership team has implemented the performance evaluation process for staff. There were some deficiencies in our previous methodology, so that's been implemented now. So we now have new performance tools to evaluate staff. There's two different versions, one for the management staff and one for employees as a whole. So that's been happening and it's been rolled out. The managers that have undertaken their performance reviews found it to be more effective than the previous process. In terms of the province, the good news is they've accepted the MSI year-end reporting that's required to get this year's allocations, so that's good news. The bad news story is Alberta Growth meeting is scheduled for the 31st. The number of respondents in terms of participation is minimal to date. Encourage councillors to also respond to our legislative and communication coordinator if they plan to attend the event. And just on that, Bailey has been reaching out to all the invitees and encouraged them to participate and respond by Wednesday if they are going to attend the event.
That's all. Okay, so with that, we'll open the floor for any questions, comments. Councillor Danaka.
Just a couple things before we get into the action list. The June 1st community grad sale. Is the Sports Palace being used? Is it as a spot for the grad sales, or is that fallen through, or where are we with that?
The recreations, the Elks advised that they were not seeking that venue for their purpose and could not man it if it was available, but expressed thanks to council. So that's means I left it up to the rec director to decide whether we're making the parking lot available or not. So the building probably won't be available, and we'll have to follow up whether we're going to provide tables in the parking lot.
Okay.
At a minimum, I advise her to advise in Facebook and the like that the parking lot is available for anyone that wishes to use that.
Okay. So those of us that contributed to the rent of that out of our bucket, that will be coming back to our bucket?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Second thing with the policing forum coming up tomorrow, I guess, what format are we using? Because I know you and I had sort of had a brief discussion about sort of what I envision happening. I don't know if it's been formalized as to what the actual format will be with that for tomorrow night.
No, it hasn't been formalized. As advice council, I recommended that that event be facilitated. Council did not support that position, so we've done our best from an administrative perspective. It is on the action list saying who who's been notified who's attending. So it will be on the basis that we've discussed, there will be tables set up. And we're setting it up with tables because of the event that's happening on Friday. So rather than setting it up twice, we're just.
Oh, okay.
We're doing it as tables. We have confirmed speakers and other interested individuals. We haven't heard necessarily from all, but the format would be basically the panel. Their presenters would be on the stage, they'll have an opportunity to present an overview. The RCP will likely talk about crime statistics, what they're doing, whatever initiatives they have. Other interested parties, the peace officers will give an overview of their legislative authority. Everyone on the panel will sort of give that overview.
Yeah.
And then it's an open format.
And so now that takes me to the action list. It's kind of late right now, but, has there been any response from, Emily Sinclair or Williams to attend?
I don't have my list on me, but I think there's 4 that have responded with unavailable, and the rest haven't
Yeah, because
responded.
there's a list here, the judge is unavailable, the ministry,
Yeah.
Arnold.
Where's the list? There's one more, I can't remember off the top of my head, that said he's unavailable.
Okay.
I can let you know, but I just don't have it right now.
Okay, all right. Kate? That's all my questions.
Counselor Stenos.
So, a few meetings back, the question was asked about the Citizen of the Year 2023 plaque. Was that put on or has it fallen off because I can't find it?
I'll have to follow up, I don't have that answer tonight. But it was installed, yes.
It was installed? Yeah, could you get someone to look into that, because I can't find it on the monument or whatever it's called. I'm not sure if this is where I asked a question or I was gonna wait for Donna's report, but I see there was new sidewalks put in at the museum. Is that part of our capital plan for sidewalks?
No, it's not. In last year's budget, there was $100,000 approved for improvements at the museum, conditional on grant funding. The library did confirm they got grant funding, so we released money for those sidewalks as part of the 223 budget.
Yeah. It was a matching grant, a CFEP grant that the museum got to redo the sidewalks.
Oh, okay, so we matched whatever,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay, thanks. And are we gonna follow up on the rural renewal stream? Has any of the businesses participated? Are we following up on that? Do we have any feedback at all on that?
The feedback, yes, through the chair, the feedback's positive. There's been numerous businesses that have enrolled in the program within town. I can provide an update report at within the next 2 meetings on the participation rate and the like.
So, do you know at all, have we brought in more residents to the town through that rural renewal?
Yes.
That's it, thanks.
Okay. Anything else? Counselor Martins?
Bill, have we heard back from McSteel, or have we responded to McSteel?
Hopefully, we'll be meeting with them this week. They still have not provided tutorial, whatever you want to call it, of what they're requesting. That still has to go to the Ministry of Transportation for discussions. I've contacted the Ministry of Transportation. They're awaiting the specifications that we're looking for. But it's really predominantly, first step is whether we even have support from transportation to erect the sign, given the verbal presentation that the group gave. So the transportation has very strict guidelines in terms of signage, in terms of illumination of the signage and the like. And What I heard from the delegation was they wanted illuminated signs. So I'll be meeting with them also by the end of this week to get a better idea of what exactly they're looking for. One of the other concerns, not necessarily transportation, but road signage, and police officers left, there's significant issues related to signage within town in terms of setbacks and the like. That may suit transportation's requirements coming westbound, but the signage will not be visible at all by anyone going eastbound. And it's at, anyways, I'll wait for comments from transportation, but that particular requires a high-risk corner for traffic concerns. And having signage there may not be to the liking of transportation, but I'll wait until we get their comment.
Go ahead, she was.
Yeah, I just
So
want
we'll let
to
her
follow up on that signage, yeah.
Go ahead, because mine is different, so go ahead.
So when you say, the traffic flow going west can see the sign, but the traffic flow going east can't, that might be an obstacle. Is there any way we can accommodate by maybe removing some of those trees so that it could be visible in both directions?
What I would suggest to council is the overall concept has to be adopted and supported by transportation. And if they do, then we can explore that. But there would be significant cost to remove those trees.
Also, I think a great deal of those trees are grinders. But they're not, how far does that piece of property go back?
It goes back, but the town's property ownership there is quite extensive.
It's okay.
Okay, Councilor.
I know for our event tomorrow, community engagement with policing, I know there's letters that have been sent to these individuals. How else have we advertised it?
It's been on Facebook, on our webpage. There's been significant chatter on Facebook about it. So we put up posters.
Those are your questions? Yeah, okay. Anything else? I am curious if we had any luck getting a meeting set up with the minister regarding YAC
No response as of yet.
as of yet. Okay,
The letter was written in the format that we would council, yourself or members of council would go to the legislature or any other designation that was suitable for his schedule in the province.
good, okay, hopefully we'll hear back soon. The other question is around our audit, how is that progressing? Any word on that?
From the town's perspective, we're in good shape again. We have not received any indication of when the Waste Management Authority materials will be available.
So that would be the consolidated form, but the unconsolidated one, are they gonna present that, first, or? I know we did that last year, because we didn't get the other stuff till later.
That was done as a courtesy last year. That is not within the scope of the retention agreement.
So any indication of when we will likely get that?
I think last year being the barometer, the Waste Management Authority provided their statements mid-June. So once those are provided, then the auditors will probably need 2 days to complete the audit.
Okay, those were my additional.
Is the Waste Management Authority administration aware that we're waiting for these consolidated statements?
They've been aware since I've been here for the last year and a half that we would like to receive the statements on a more timely basis. So yes, I think they're well aware. And not to be, you know, not to be seen. But they are aware that what the requirements are under the MGA. So I can leave it at that.
All right, anything else? All right, seeing nothing, we had a motion to receive the report for information. All in favor? It is carried. Moving on to council information, including correspondence. We'll start off with a letter from Jimmy. Make a motion on this one? Councilor Martins?
I received the High Grade Eagles letter of information.
All right. Discussion on this one? Go ahead, Councilor Denaka.
Like he doesn't really outline, but support, what kind of support, like a support letter, whatever. And my only other concern with this is because I don't really know how it's going to impact the rest of the users of the arena if they are allowed to join, because we have the Red Wings, minor hockey, pond hockey, rec hockey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just curious as to what he's asking from the mayor and council as support.
I think I can address some of that, because I have had a discussion with them about this, and they were looking for a letter that could be brought forward to the league, saying that we would support them to go back in the league, or to come back, to start up again. So it's a letter that they're looking for. And, the question about ice time, I think that could still fit in, because the Red Wings generally practice during the day. They're not practicing in the evening. The Regals have practiced in the evening in the past. I'm assuming that would be their plan again, because it's a working man's league. And we don't have, I'm going to say, 100% utilization all the time. So it could fit in. It could certainly, we don't have figure skating anymore, things like that. So there's ice time available.
Well, I mean, it's somewhat of a moot point because the motion is to accept for information.
Yeah, well,
Right?
So I have the same question, and so knowing that, I'm happy to make a friendly amendment to have a support letter to invite them or support their
Application.
entry into the league. Yeah, I didn't know what they wanted. I thought it was money too. I didn't know what, that was my next question. So if that's what they need, I'm happy to make a friendly amendment, but is that what they want, a letter?
that's what they.
Because it doesn't say anywhere, so.
Councilor Wakefield?
Do the Regals still owe us money, the town? Do we know that?
Yes, they have outstanding receivables.
I'd like to see those cleared up. And as we're working around the Red Wings, I had a chat with the statistician from the NPHL at one point last year. He said they'd just work around it. I think that was a direct quote, was it not, Chris?
See what?
That I had a chat with the NPHL statistician last year about the Regals and the Red Wings coexisting, and he said that they would work around it. It can be made to work, right?
I
So-
can address it if the chair lets me speak. At this point, it's up to you.
Yeah, and we did get your email, and I can speak, well, no, I'll let you go ahead and speak as long as council's okay with that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
You want information?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I've been involved in NPHL since 1990. I've gone the schedule for over 30 years. The long and the short of it is that the Red Wings schedule is released far before ours. They take whatever they want, we take what's left. We work around their schedule. It has no effect. for the Red Wings. That's regular season, playoffs, different issue. Depending on where they placed, they would have to somehow work together, or they would have to determine a chain of command of who would get venue first, whatnot. I can only speak to regular season. We work around them. I've done it for Peace River in the past, Grand Prairie in the past, and still do it for Fort St. John and Dawson Creek today. I work around their meetings as they're shared with their junior clubs. So long and short of it, in the regular season, there is no effect. There should be no concern. I work around it. So James was correct, Councillor Wakeland. So if you have any questions, I'll ask them in addition. The meeting is Sunday, and the Regals are expected to attend to make an application to the NPHL.
Okay, thank you.
So does a second ice surface, does it have the capacity to handle senior hockey?
I'm not gonna answer that, but I think Brian knows, James knows, they're not gonna play in the second arena. It's gonna be a Sports Palace arena. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
It comes down to, space for the fans. The seating in the Gordon Buchanan side is, what can get there, 100 people, maybe, right? Whereas you can get, I think the capacity of the, Sports Palace is about 4,000 less than what Phoenix could put in last season.
So yeah, they're probably not gonna be using, maybe for practice, but again, the big question with the Regals, and I'm sure we could work it out, will be dressing rooms and stuff like that, because the Red Wings have moved into what was the Regals dressing room, so there's there's questions about that, and then there would be, like I say, maybe around playoffs, that would be the other thing to, but I think in my opinion, they're all workable and have.
Yeah, that was my question. If there is conflict in the playoffs, can they utilize it if they have to?
Yeah, and we'd have to work with them, come up with a way to work those things out, I think.
Chris, when are the playoffs for the NPHL traditionally?
First, in response to Councillor Dunn, traditionally when Brian played, we always played Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday in the playoffs. As the availability of buildings around the league becomes more difficult, particularly at the junior clubs in Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, and even so much as the programs in Grand Prairie, we are playing Friday games, the very odd Wednesday games, so in theory that may have to happen here. We never know, we can't predict the future. You can both make the playoffs and you could be on different dates staggering. Our playoffs begin a lot sooner, as Councillor Wakeland knows. The first week of February, you run until just about March, I think.
Last game was the first weekend of April this year, so
Yeah,
that was a 16th.
So basically what I'm saying is the North Peaks Hockey League is not against scheduling a Friday game or a Wednesday game if it needs to be. And the teams around the league, excuse me, they understand that. And they work pretty well together the last 2 years, knowing ice availability in some arenas is a problem. So, okay, thanks for council letting me speak to that. Hopefully it helps your decision.
Thank you.
Councillor Stenhouse?
So I would like to address this outstanding receivables before we send out a letter of support.
I was gonna ask if it was significant, and I don't know how to define significant.
Well, it doesn't matter, they're in arrears
I know
here.
nothing about it. So.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Is there more information we can get, or it just seems, just doesn't seem right to send a letter of support when, how old are these bills that they owe us?
Well, they gotta be old, they haven't been in existence for a few years now, so.
And the quantum of the amount isn't significant by my definition. But again, it's been accruing interest for a number of years, so interest on interest on interest and the like. So, I can bring back some more information on that, but I don't recall the number exactly, but we did have a sheet, and I believe the number was in the, I would say it was less than $5,000. I could be wrong there.
Yeah,
It's in that
yeah, see, the
ballpark.
number is not important to me, it's the principle, that they're asking for a letter of support, yet they haven't paid their bill in a few years, so.
I won't speak on, sorry, Counselor, I won't speak on behalf of the organization, but it may be the case where the original administration of that prior Regals hockey team is non-existent anymore, and there may be a new group of individuals trying to resurrect it. But I could be totally wrong there, but that generally is the case where these type of issues happen in municipalities where community group loses support for various reasons and bills don't get paid.
Councilor Martin?
My question was around whether they are aware of their outstanding debt.
Some of the individuals are very aware that there's an outstanding debt.
So what is the, someone, I believe Chris said that there's a meeting coming up, so when do they need this letter, does anyone know?
Yeah, the meeting is coming up this Saturday, so they would like to get it today, or, get it approved today.
So can we make it contingent on them, having an appetite to clear their debt? We're happy to support their desire to join the North Peace Hockey League for the upcoming 24-25 season. And we'd like them to clear their bill with the town.
Well, I think we could, like you say, it's just like with the Red Wings, if we don't have payment for their ice, they don't get ice time. So I think that would be the first thing, that if they were to get back in the league, that they have to clear up any outstanding debts. So on one side, that's a really good thing, that we can get that debt cleared up. And so, if I would say give them a letter of support if they get in and they know that to get ice time, they have to clear up the debt. If they can't clear up the debt, they're not getting the ice time. And so it would be, it's just like we do with the Red Wings.
Can we present them with a letter of support with, and ask of them presenting us with a plan to resolve the debt? So that at our next council meeting, we can see they have a plan in place, if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, we could do that. For me, I would rather say, just give them a letter of support, with sort of the understanding that they have to clear up their bill before they can play. Right, that's just calm and busy, you clean up your bill before you can get additional ice time, so
I'd be okay with that, as long as it's clearly understood.
that there's no ice time on credit here.
They never thought of that before presenting this letter?
I don't know, I can't answer that other than, they wanna get back in the league, they've got to apply right away, they're getting that in, and then I know there's a lot to get together to be able to ice a team, so, even if they're in the league, they've still got to get a lot of things together, and the executive, and find the players, and, a lot of other pieces, and find the funding to make the team go. So I know they've got some of those pieces, but not all of them together, but we can make it very clear that, they have to pay their ice bill before they move on. So, yeah, Councilor Martins.
Sorry, Teresa has her mic on. Teresa, you speaking?
No, go ahead, I didn't.
Turn your mic off.
I was gonna put my hand, but you were,
Oh.
you're gonna speak, so go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that my motion is, my amended motion is that the town of council directs administration to write a letter of support to the High Prairie Regals Hockey Club and support their desire to join the North Peace Hockey League for the upcoming 2024-2025 season. And state the understanding that they have a debt to clear with us. So that's the motion.
Councillor Shishin.
So I was just gonna make a comment that they're looking for support to put their application in. They may be using that letter, presenting that letter. So I don't know if the money's in the letter and the support is at the same time, or because I kind of suspect that's what they'll do. They'll say, here's the letter from Town High Prairie for their application. I mean, granted, if there's owing, I mean, definitely that has to be dealt with, but I just see it as not two separate things, but going ahead with, two separate things. So, because like you say, they're not gonna get the ice time, right, unless they have their debt paid. So, I mean, if they have previous debts, that should be number one first, but, I could be wrong with the letter, how the letter would be presented, or used, I should say.
Yeah, my understanding of it is that the letter would be used to show that the town would support them in their bid to get that, and we would work with them on ice time, that kind of thing, right? If that's the one.
So I just understand, could they get entry into the NPHL and then play elsewhere?
They could possibly, yeah, but. I mean,
They wouldn't be the High Prairie Regals anymore.
Right? They'd be, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, my only thing is, yeah, for their support to get in, I'd rather not say in the letter that they have to clear up the debt. That's just my take, because it doesn't show as much support, but we also know that they have to clear up their bill to be able to play. So I'd rather see the letter written without, they have to clear up, without that statement in there, but it would be an understanding to give them, I guess, better support in their application.
So should it be two motions then?
Yeah.
Or two letters? You want this letter that goes to the league and says, yeah, we'll back the Regals, but then another letter that goes to just to the Regals that says, to get the ice, this needs to be cleared up.
I would certainly support that, from my perspective.
Okay.
Just so it's
Councilor
in
Martin, would
writing.
you like to amend your motion for like the okay.
I think it's very rare. It's not simple.
Well, then it's in writing to the Regals, and then there's no confusion there, right?
So it doesn't get lost, yeah.
Yeah, it's in writing that, yeah. Okay, so if I'm understanding correct, there would be a motion for two letters, one letter of support for the Regals to join the MPHL, and another letter to the Regals to state that they must clear up their outstanding debt before they'll be able to get more ice. Okay, we're all clear?
That can be one motion.
Yeah. All right, all in favor? It's carried. The next one, the Valley Pride Celebration, get a motion on this? Okay,
That we received that for information.
all right. Any discussion on that one? Councilor Wakefield?
I'd like to see the town of High Prairie declare June as Pride Month for High Prairie. I mean, it's Pride Month already, but I'd like to see the town recognize it as we did last month. As far as this Pride party that they're having in Valley View, my kid went last year, I took her there. She had a ball and very well attended and very positive atmosphere. So once we receive this for information, I would like to make the secretary motion there to declare June right.
this one. Is there any other discussions on the Valley View letter other than you received for information? Councilor Martins?
Since you were at last year's event, what is paint a cop car?
Well, the RCMP came with one of their cruisers, and they had water soluble paint, and you got to paint all sorts of stuff on the cop car, and the cops loved it. It was great.
Okay, seeing nothing on this, we have the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Waco, you wanted to make another motion?
I would like to move that High Prairie recognize June as Pride Month, as we did last year. Recognizing the LGBTQ plus community.
All right. And that would be just by recognizing it, we're just putting a notice on our website.
Yeah, website and someone sign there, whatever we did last year there.
Do you know what we did last year?
Yes, through the chair, website, Facebook, and signage.
Just, okay. Okay, any discussion on that?
Do we want to add a flag to that? Or are we allowed, what's our policies?
Council can request any flag to be risen for any event, so.
I think it shows that there's more than just, the usual, that we are taking a stand to support. I don't know the alphabet.
LGBTQ plus. I think I missed something.
It's 2S.
So, yeah, just a thought.
I could, that can be amended to 12 March if we want
But there's
Do we have
issues
one?
with that, we wouldn't even have one, finding one, and, you know, that's another issue,
to,
so.
since the flag guy come into town, he was here the other day. He might have one.
I mean, it's your motion,
Donna's got something to say, I think.
Councilor Denick.
Well, I mean, I was only gonna say that whether the town declares it or not, provincially and federally, June has always been declared as Pride Month, so it's somewhat of a moot point in a sense.
No, it's just a recognition from the town, but yeah, it's already recognized, like you said, provincially, nationally, yeah. Okay, any other comments on it? Questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? It is carried. Oh, that the town is going, just to be clear, and maybe, but correct me if I'm wrong, James, but the town is going to recognize Pride Month and advertise it as we did last year?
Are we doing with the flag or without? That is the unclear part.
No flag.
Okay.
Commercial.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
I think a couple of minutes.
okay, we'll call a break for 10 minutes and